So, yeah, I mean, it's gonna chill out now. You know, I've been like almost overwhelmed. Like, is this what life is now? But you forget. Like, no, this is just the festival time. It's gonna go back to normal. So now it's like kind of going back to normal.
When's the Radharani?
Radharani, Radhastami is exactly 2 weeks after Janmashtami, so it's a little less than 2 weeks.
No, 9th.
The 11th.
11th?
Yeah, it's on the 11th.
I have a doubt on that actually. I have heard both ways that Srimati Radharani is younger or elder. I have heard both. So what's your opinion?
Well, I mean, the acharyas say, I think that.
She's elder.
I'm not sure. I was pretty sure she was younger. That was what I've heard. The main evidence is that when Radharani was born, that her eyes were not opening, and she had kind of, in the spiritual world before she came, she had made the commitment that she doesn't want to see anything but Krishna. So when she was born, her eyes stayed closed. And so during some festival, she was invited over. They invited Nanda Maharaj and the family over, and then Krishna had snuck off into her crib room where she was sleeping, and he had climbed up on her crib and he had put his hands over her eyes, and when he did that, she opened her eyes for the first time. So she was in a crib and Krishna was not in a crib and he was crawling around. At least to me, that gives some type of evidence that she is younger. At least in this world. I mean, the tattva, the siddhanta is there. Everyone's eternal. You know, there's one absolute truth, and they're both expansions of the one absolute truth. But who appears first in this world? As far as I know, it's Krishna. But I actually don't know anything. So, very interesting. I've heard Sita is older than Ram in certain understanding, but I've also heard she's younger and that this isn't.
Sita is younger, I think.
Yeah. Well, there's some.
The confusion is about whenever the Lord's consort appear, they haven't appeared from mother, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they are someone. Sita Devi was, Janak Maharaj daughter.
He also came out of earth.
Yes.
Same was with
Radharani.
She was not born from a mother,
Yes. So hard to say. I don't know. I for me it's even hard to even fathom that people can take birth other than the normal way. So it's
for Virgin Mary also.
Yeah, Virgin Mary. I mean, it's just all so hard to fathom how any of this could happen, but this is beyond my scope of understanding with my rational and logical mind. So, but okay.
I think I will interject you on that, but I think the reason being to be born godly, the meeting is between the individual is not lusty, and when it is not lusty, the thing becomes virgin.
Well, maybe. I don't know. A lot of times there's question whether there's any mating at all, or whether
when it's not lustful, it's godly then, not. So then the point of being mating is null and void because it's not mostly due to lust. It's mostly due to.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't there. We don't know. We don't know the intimate connection between the mothers, the fathers, and and God ultimately, making all this happen. So it's not ideal that we make conjectures and speculate. So, but yeah, it's all very mystical. It's way beyond our understanding. But we can appreciate that these all across the world, divine beings seem to take birth in this special type of way, and that all across many traditions, whether it was the Virgin Mary, in Egyptian mysticism, there's many instances like this. In the Indian Vedic pantheon, there's so many instances like this. Even the Greeks, they have stories like this. So it's very interesting that all across the world, these special type of births are noted for special types of personalities. So, but anyway, what we can at least speculate on with our own, we won't be able to wrap our mind around it. That's not our in our ability. It doesn't fit into the limited understandings that we all have. But what we can do is hear from the authoritative sources, like Bhagavatam, and that's what we'll do right now. So we have been reading. We took a huge break because Janmashtami. We had classes on Janmashtami every day. We had Prabhupada's appearance day. We had so many events up. I don't remember the last time we did Bhagavatam class. We had the Friday night program. And so we haven't done a Bhagavatam class in almost a whole week. So I'm trying to remember where we're at. So they were talking about the recommendation of one, we should know about all the different incarnations of the Lord. And then now he's talking about, Sutta Goswami is talking about the benefit of regularly hearing about the pastimes and incarnations of the Lord. And then, he's saying that the foolish, they cannot know about these things. So ultimately, but we ended on only those who render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who carries the wheel of the chariot in his hand, can know the creator of the universe in his full glory, power, and transcendence. So only by pure bhakti can we actually understand the Lord. This is the paradox. No matter how hard you study, no matter how hard you work, no matter how, what you do with your own endeavors, unless you are ultimately doing pleasing service unto the Lord, you don't achieve the objective, He being the ultimate objective. So this is our, it's the difference between somebody who wants to get, say, $1 million, and one guy decides, I'm going to work 60 hours a week, every week, to obtain my objective. And the other guy who just, he just wants to serve people, and he ends up serving a billionaire. And the billionaire, due to being pleased with him, he gives him way more than the person working their tail off. And actually, this is, Krishna is like this, but now magnify the billionaire to the ultimate being, the creator of everything, the owner of every opulence. And not that we're here to collect money from the Lord. That's definitely not it. The essence is the ultimate treasure, the ultimate wealth is the Lord Himself. And if you want to understand the Lord, it's not going to be through the I think process, or let me do so many pujas, or let me do so many things. It's who is pleasing the Lord and who's going to get the Lord's mercy due to the pleasure that the Lord is receiving. And actually there's a way. Many people, well, how do I get the mercy of the Lord? How do I get... It's actually through pleasing His servants. Those who are more confidentially connected to the Lord, we should please them. And by their being pleased, naturally they're merciful on us. And they inquire to the Lord on our behalf. Because sometimes we have, I know myself, like a rotten consciousness, where we don't we don't have the proper mood of affection towards God. Maybe we want to exploit God to some degree. Maybe we want, God, we have many even doubts that God even exists. But if we do some type of pleasing activity to the Lord's servants, then they will look favorably upon us, and they're more deeply connected to the Lord, and they will, on our behalf, bring the Lord's mercy to us, make it more accessible to us, and that's the kind of the secret, the trick here. But ultimately, service unto the Lord is the process. How to get is how you can know this Creator of the universe in His full glory, power, and transcendence. This was the last verse we read. So now we should do our thing here. Parth, it's nice to have you back here all the time. And the room's really filling in, huh? And next thing we know, we'll have 30 people here for all the time. That would be a great victory. If somehow, like, so many people join in the morning to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, that's when you know that something's actually happening. So anyway, prayers to the Gurus. Om
Manjana-timirandasya Jnananjana-salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Jyati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sajiva Sarvatam Sardutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanti Hamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindaneshwari Vrishabhanuste Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shubhadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Dhinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prasya Deshatarine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
On a respectful basis, in the spring water of Vasudeva.
Nayanam namaskritya Namshairanarottamam Devim Sarvasrivyasam Tato Jayatu Dire.
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance onto the personality of the Godhead. Narayana, onto Narayana Rishi, the supreme-most human being, onto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, onto Srila Vedvyasa, the author.
Shinvidam Swaga Krishna Punishavana Kirtana Hidyanta Soya Pradhyani Vinodi Suri Sindhita.
Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead who is Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for the material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted.
Nasta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavate utmashuke bhakti bhavati naishtiki.
By regular attendance in the classes of Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead who is praised with transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact.
Jai.
Alright, so let's cleanse our heart of material desires which are causing us all of our troubles. And we'll remove all our troubles by hearing Bhagavatam and do Bhagavat Seva. Also, we want to serve the person. Bhagavat, this last verse is kind of indicating that this service unto the Supreme Lord is the topmost goal of life. And how do you serve the Supreme Lord? You serve His servants. That's the trick. You try to serve the servants of the Supreme Lord, and you can learn the very confidential art and science of devotional service. Just like any art and science, you want to learn from a professor or a master on how to go deeper into this art and science. So the highest art, the highest science is bhakti yoga unto the Supreme Lord, or loving devotion unto the Lord. And it's very confidential how to do that in mastery. So Bhagavatam is going to reveal this. Okay, we are on text 39 of chapter 3. Repeat after me. Ate hadanya bhagavanta itam yad vasudeve kila lokanate kurvanti sarvatmakamatma bhavam na yatra bhuya parivarta ugraha atha. Thus, iha, in this world, danya, successful, bhagavanta, perfectly cognizant, itam, such, yat, what, vasudeve, unto the personality of Godhead, akila, all embracing, lokanathe, unto the proprietor of all the universes, korvanti, inspires, sarva atmakam, 100%, atma, spirit, bhavam, ecstasy, na, never, yatra, wherein, bhuya, again, parivarta, repetition, ugraha, dreadful. Only by making such inquiries in this world can one be successful, and perfectly cognizant for such inquiries invoke transcendental ecstatic love unto the personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of all the universes, and guarantee 100% or 100% immunity from the dreadful repetition of birth and death. So it's recommending, only those who make inquiries unto this science of devotional service on the Lord. This is what is going to actually invoke transcendental ecstatic love, which is like something we're all... Is anyone not interested in transcendental ecstatic love? No, that's like amazing. That sounds very amazing. To be in blissful ecstasy, in love. So in order to do that, you have to make inquiries. So when we asked at the end of the class, is there any questions? For those who are trying to make some serious advancement, there should always be some type of question. But this is, it takes some time to always be like this. So we'll hear from Srila Prabhupada. The inquiries of the sages headed by Shonaka are herewith praised by Sutta Goswami on the merit of their transcendental nature. As already concluded, only the devotees of the Lord can know Him to a considerable extent, and no one else can know Him at all. So the devotees are perfectly cognizant of all spiritual knowledge. The personality of God is the last word in absolute truth. Impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma, Supersoul, are included in the knowledge of the personality of Godhead. So one who knows the personality of Godhead can automatically know all about Him, His multipotencies, and His expansions. So the devotees are congratulated as being all successful. A 100% devotee of the Lord is immune to the dreadful material miseries of repeated birth and death. So this is also our guarantee. We'll be immune to the dreadful material miseries of repeated birth and death. So, in our life, what we need to work towards is being a 100% devotee. We're all here some percent devotee, right? Maybe I'm a 1% devotee. Maybe you're a 2% devotee. Maybe some of us are 0.3% devotees, or something like that. But the cent% devotee will be completely immune to the dreadful material miseries. And kind of what we were mentioning in our invocation verses, this, if they make inquiries into the science to go deeper, they'll invoke transcendental ecstatic love unto the personality of Godhead. So this should be all of our kind of goal. We should find a more advanced devotee than ourselves, and then we should make inquiry unto them. And this will invoke the transcendental ecstasy we're all looking for. Because that personality, they'll have answers that we're not privy to. And so this is the process of Guru. And it's not just taking Diksha Guru. This is not the end. Diksha means initiation, means birth. You take a birth. Means you're just born, and now you actually have existence. So now what is the process? Taking Shiksha. How do you get Shiksha? You have to become qualified in Shishya. In Shishya, what does one do? You ask the Shiksha for instruction. And so the Diksha Guru, if ideally, is going to be your prime source of Shiksha. But this may also not be the case. The Diksha Guru can, maybe he's quite popular, you will not have much access to him. Maybe, he's given you all the tools that you need to take proper Shiksha from other places that you need. But this is the process. We need to take Shiksha from more advanced spiritualists than ourselves, and that's what the sages in Naimisharanya they've done. And now they're experiencing this transcendental ecstatic love from hearing this from Sutta Goswami. And also we're in it too. It's happening to us too. On their behalf, they're giving questions, we're reading the questions, and then we're getting the answers. But this should invoke some of our own questions on how to take this deeper. You guys, here, maybe you have me, but I will not be able to take you very far. And I can take you to a little bit of a big brother state. Like, okay, I made it a little far, not a little far at all, but I made some advancement, so I can maybe help you make whatever advancement that I've made. But the goal is we want to find a very advanced personality, and we should inquire from them. And this is how we can invoke the transcendental ecstatic love that personality has already achieved. So it's very, very important process here. And you'll be 100% immune from the dreadful repetition of birth and death. You don't have to come here and get embarrassed by the material world anymore and all of its ups and downs and tosses and turns and many miserable conditions here. So it sounds pretty good. Text 40. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Danyam Svastyayanam Mahat. This is a very important verse. Idam, this, Bhagavatam, book containing the narration of the personality of Godhead and his pure devotees. Nama, of the name. Puranam, supplementary to the Vedas. Brahma Samhitam, in incarnation of Lord Sri Krishna. Uttama Shloka, of the personality of Godhead. Charitam, Uttama is isn't this like the supreme, and shloka is like the verses, so he's the supreme, which all the verses are describing. It's a name for the personality of God. It's nice. Charitam, activities. Chakara, compiled. Bhagavan, incarnation of the personality of Godhead. Rishi, Sri Vyasadeva. Nishreyasaya, for the ultimate good. Lokasya, of all people. Danyam, fully successful. Svastiyayanam, all blissful. Mahat, all perfect. Translation. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of God and it is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people, and it is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. So this information that Sutta Goswami is about to give them via the Bhagavatam, it's replete with the questions and answers of the devotees and the Lord. And it actually said to be, you are holding an incarnation of God. That's why we actually recommend you don't rest that on something we put our bottom on. Because you're actually holding like a deity form, so to say. This is something very special. It's not just a book. This information is said to be an incarnation of God, the literary incarnation of God. And it's meant for the ultimate good of all people. Does anyone want the ultimate good in their life? Yes. To be all successful. Here is your, what's that called? Manuscript on, not manuscript. What's the instruction manual on how to be all successful? You're holding it right here. All blissful. Instruction manual on how to be all blissful. You're holding it right here. And all perfect. If you want to reach perfection in this life, this explains the process to perfection. So just it's giving you some context for and gravity for what we're actually holding, what we're actually doing. This is why we're doing this. You know, I wanted to skip Bhagavatam today. Actually, I woke up late. You guys, you know, it's rare that I'm the last one to the arati, but I was the last one to the arati today. And yeah, I just totally wanted to chant and get my duties done, and I wanted to skip this, but just see what a fool I am, because this is ultimately going to be for my ultimate good, all success, all bliss, and all perfection. So we should take time to read Bhagavatam as much as we can every day. Even when you finish it once, you're not done with it. Do it again and again and again and again. So you'll see this, you'll have this relationship yourself as you go through Bhagavatam, and you start to imbibe the messages therein. So Prabhupada says, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu declared that Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless sound representation of all Vedic knowledge and history. There are selected histories of great devotees who are in direct contact with the personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of Lord Sri Krishna, and is therefore non-different from him. Srimad Bhagavatam should be worshipped as respectfully as we worship the Lord. Thereby we can derive the ultimate blessings of the Lord through its careful and patient study. As God is all light, all bliss, and all perfection, so also is Srimad Bhagavatam. We can have all the transcendental light of the Supreme Brahman, Sri Krishna, from the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, provided it is received through the medium of the transparent spiritual master. So that's Srila Prabhupada's great mercy upon us. He's giving us Bhagavatam with explanation through a medium of him, the transparent spiritual master. And even right now we're hearing it through a derivative of him, through my Guru Maharaj, and then to me, and somehow I'm just trying to, if I do my job properly, I'm just trying to emphasize the mood of our acharyas and what Srila Prabhupada. So we have the proper medium to receive this. So, Lord Chaitanya's private secretary, Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, advised all intending visitors who came to see the Lord at Puri to make a study of the Bhagavatam from the Person Bhagavatam. Person Bhagavatam is the self-realized bona fide spiritual master, and through him only can one understand the lessons of Bhagavatam in order to receive the desired result. One can derive from the study of the Bhagavatam all benefits that are possible to be derived from the personal presence of the Lord. It carries with it all the transcendental blessings of Lord Sri Krishna that we can expect from his personal contact. So this is why reading the purports is so important. This is your medium. As you know, a lot of people, they get it, and I did this at one point. I'm just going to read the translations. I'm just going to read the translations. No problem. You're getting wonderful knowledge by reading the translations. But what you're not getting is the medium, the context, the understanding, and the deep realizations of a bona fide spiritual master. So that's why Srila Prabhupada wrote these books with elaborate commentary. Why? So actually we can receive the benefit. because we're not going to get it on our own. We will think, well, I think this means this, and I think this means this, and by the time we're done with the Bhagavatam, it means as soon as it touches our nasty little mind, we ruin the whole thing. It's compared. I don't know if it will come to it soon, but there's a verse that says if milk is touched by the lips of a serpent, it completely ruins the milk. It completely poisons. And so when this knowledge is touched, this pure knowledge is touched by the contamination of our own minds and our own interpretations, we'll spoil the whole thing. So this is the importance of the spiritual master. The one who is taken to the purification and followed from his spiritual master. And that's why we worship the Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, because it has to come in Parampara. That's how we receive it. It has to come purely from Krishna down through his trusted servant to his trusted servant and so on. So Srila Prabhupada has made this available to us. It was just his appearance day yesterday, but this is one of the great gifts that he left us. He left us the incarnation of God that no one has ever brought into English. Someone has maybe brought into English, but no one did so with such elaborate commentary and in such an authoritative way. And yes, this is what we study. And you're guaranteed the ultimate good, all success, all bliss, and all perfection. So we really can't even fathom how fortunate we are for having the Bhagavatam. So let's do one more verse. How many is left in this chapter? Tadidam grahayamasa sutam atmavatam varam sarva vedeti hasanam Saram saram samudritam tat that idam this grahayamasa made to accept sutam unto his son atmavatam of the self-realized varam most respectful sarva all Vedic literatures or books of knowledge Itihasanam of all the histories. Sadam, cream. Sadam, cream. Samudritam, taken out. Sri Vyasadeva delivered it to his son, who is the most respected among the self-realized, after extracting the cream of all Vedic literatures and histories of the universe. So he's taking the sadam, the cream of the cream, the best portion of all the Vedic literatures. And actually, he's about to explain it to us. We really didn't get into the Bhagavatam yet. Right now, it's all been invocation and ultimately answering the sage's inquiries. And ultimately, the ultimate answer to the sage's inquiries of what the ultimate benefit and well-being of all people at large is, he's saying, well, it's this Bhagavatam. And he's about to present the Bhagavatam. So actually, you're not even going to really get into the Bhagavatam as spoken by Shukadeva Goswami until the second canto. We're going to go through this whole first canto, and it's going to set the scene for Bhagavatam to be presented. But this first canto is very important because the scene needs to be set for us to really understand Bhagavatam in all its glory. So we'll continue our way through. Prabhupada says, men with a poor fund of knowledge only accept the history of the world from the time of Buddha, or since 600 BC. And prior to this period, all histories mentioned in the scriptures are calculated by them to be only imaginary stories. This is happening in, Indology, trying to understand the history of India. That is not a fact. All the stories mentioned in the Puranas and Mahabharata, etc., are actual histories, not only of this planet, but also of millions of other planets within the universe. Sometimes the history of planets beyond this world appear to such men to be unbelievable. But they do not know that the different planets are not equal in all respects, and that therefore some of the historical facts derived from other planets do not correspond with the experience of this planet. Considering the different situation of different planets and also time and circumstances, there is nothing wonderful in the stories of the Puranas, nor are they imaginary. We should always remember the maxim that one man's food is another man's poison. We should not therefore reject the stories and histories of the Puranas as imaginary. The great rishis like Vyas had no business putting some imaginary stories in their literatures. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, historical facts selected from the histories of different planets have been depicted. It is therefore accepted by all the spiritual authorities as the Mahapurana, the ultimate, the greatest Purana. The special significance of these histories is that they are all connected with the activities of the Lord in a different time and atmosphere. Srila Shukadeva Goswami is the topmost personality of all the self-realized souls, and he accepted this as the subject of studies from his father, Vyasadeva. Srila Vyasadeva is the great authority in the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Being so important, he delivered the message first to his great son, Srila Shukadeva Goswami. It is compared to the cream of the milk. Vedic literature is like the milk ocean of knowledge. Cream or butter is the most palatable essence of milk, and so also is Srimad Bhagavatam, for it contains all palatable, instructive, and authentic versions of different activities of the Lord. And his devotees. There is no gain, however, in accepting the message of Bhagavatam from the unbelievers, atheists, and professional reciters who make a trade of Bhagavatam for the layman. It was delivered to Srila Shukadeva Goswami, and he had nothing to do with the Bhagavat business. He did not have to maintain family expenses by such trade. Srimad Bhagavatam should therefore be received from the representative of Shukadeva, who must be in the renounced order of life, without family encumbrance. Milk is undoubtedly very good and nourishing, but when it is touched by the mouth of a snake, it is no longer nourishing. I was just talking about this. Rather, it becomes a source of death. Similarly, those who are not strictly in the Vaishnava discipline should not make a business of this Bhagavatam and become a cause of spiritual death for so many hearers. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that the purpose of all the Vedas is to know Him, Lord Krishna. And Srimad Bhagavatam is Lord Krishna Himself in the form of recorded knowledge. Therefore, it is the cream of all the Vedas, and it contains all historical facts of all times in relation with Sri Krishna. It is factually the essence of all histories. So, this is, it's giving the limitation of this Bhagavatam class that I'm presenting to you. Because I have all these family encumbrances. I have to worry about so many things, responsibilities and finances and all kinds of things. So if you were just hearing from me, it would be very bad for you. But the good news is, if I have any credit, if I do anything properly, that we are hearing from Srila Prabhupada, who had given up all these things, and he was a pure sannyasi. And this is actually Shukadeva Goswami and Sutta Goswami. They were pure renunciates who had given up everything for the sake of the absolute truth. And so we should hear knowledge from this type of personality. Luckily, in this movement, we're trying to present the knowledge and the realizations of those type of personalities, and we're trying to do the best that we can to not get in the way of what they're presenting, and just present what they've presented. As soon as we start concocting, as soon as we start making our own interpretation, it's like, as Prabhupada mentioned, the lips of the serpent touching the milk. So, very important to just take these realizations as they are, and also to hear them from the proper sources. So Srila Prabhupada's commentary, this is a perfect source for us. And so, this is how we should take in the Bhagavatam. It is the ultimate cream of all Vedic literatures and histories of the universe, and it's also mentioned that so many things are happening on different planets. It might sound fantastical, it might sound wonderful, it might sound imaginary, but it's beyond our scope of study. This is happening, we're on an earth planet with little earth and water bodies that work a certain way, but we can't even fathom how things operate on a different planet and so on. So when these descriptions are given in the Bhagavatam, the foolish say, "Oh, well, that's just imaginary fables. They didn't know any better back then." So, they said like this. But this actually, if you make that assumption, you might miss out on some incredible knowledge. You will miss out on this incredible knowledge, making that assumption. So anyway, we should take it as it is. Also take it from the realization of masters like Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara, our acharyas. And we can make a lot of benefit. Actually, all bliss, all success, all perfection is waiting for us. So we'll end there. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for reading Bhagavatam. Thank you guys for inspiring me to do Bhagavatam this morning, because I totally would not have done it if you guys weren't here. Especially this morning when I woke up late and I just want to chant rounds and things like that. So anyway,